Hello and welcome to another wonderful talk at the Positive Future for Health podcast. I'm your host, Althea Finch. I'm the creator of the pain-free method, how to be pain-free by tuning into you. And you can find out more about that at painfreedom.co.uk. And as well as teaching people my method of how to be pain-free, I also host this podcast where I invite natural health experts and people who are going to share their expertise and wisdom to help us all in many, many, many different ways, in positive ways. And on today's podcast, we have the wonderful Catherine Watkin. And where did I meet Catherine? I've been in her world for many years. I've been a natural therapist for years, and like many natural therapists, we tend to be brilliant at what we do, hopefully, and really good at natural health and our particular expertise, but absolutely rubbish at marketing. So that was me. And I realized I started to be online and I got someone to do my website and I thought, oh, well, that's it. Website's up, people will come. And I realized it was dawned on me that I had no marketing experience. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't even want to sell anyway. I didn't, it's just me giving my love and all that. And I came across Catherine. And as she says herself, sometimes people kind of circulate around you for ages. And I was one of those. I watched her stuff and I thought, I don't need a seller. And I don't know what's that. And I hung around her world for about 2 years or something. And I finally hit that button and got into her world and did her programs and things. I'm a member of her, she calls it the Hearties. I'm sure she's going to say more about this. And it's a fantastic group of people who want to sell their thing. She's teaching us all. So with her sweetness and sensitivity and wonderful communication, but solid business tactics of how to put business up there and out in the world in a heart-centered way, which is perfect for me. Um, and yeah, I did come out of the group at one time, although I don't need you lot, I'm fine. But then I felt that tumbleweed of, oh, what do I do again? And I came back into her world, and I've been back in the group ever since for a number of years. I don't know, it's been years now, and I'm very, very grateful, I'm very happy to be in, and I get so much support from Catherine and all the things she does in her world. So, Catherine, you're on the podcast today. I'm so pleased you've come on to talk about um, difficult struggles with your own health, but trying to run your business and be a businesswoman that you are handling both those worlds. And how did you get into all of this? I know you're a wonderful businesswoman, but with ill health, what was the journey for you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so the journey, and yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. And yeah, Althea, it's interesting you saying, well, how did I first meet you? Because we go back, when I think about it, you have been in my business community well over a decade. I know that
Oh, wow.
you did my Get More Clients Saying Yes course. That was the
Yeah.
first thing that you ever did. And then of
Mm.
course, I didn't have the membership at that time, so I think you did another program with me a couple of
Yeah.
times, and then eventually I started the membership. So yeah, it's interesting to track back because it was long ago, long enough ago that we probably can't really remember the details of how we first got connected. So me and my business. So my business is called Selling from the Heart. And I started my business teaching heart-centered business owners like coaches, therapists, and healers, people very much like Althea, how to sell. I had a background in sales, I'd had a career in sales. And when I came to start my business, I didn't have a whole lot more knowledge than that. I knew how to sell. I was confident about sales, but I didn't have much of a clue about anything else. I didn't know how to price my business to be profitable. I didn't know how to create a business model that worked. I had no idea about marketing.
Oh,
So I started my business teaching people how to sell, and I grew a successful business very quickly. And because of that, I then, probably a little earlier than I was really ready for, I started shifting into business mentoring and started a program called Business from the Heart, which was a high ticket mentoring program for the first 4 years of its existence. And then later on, that shifted and it got redesigned and it became a low cost monthly membership. And that's the business. I've been doing it for 14 years. And for almost all of that time, I have had health challenges. So at the time that I first started the business, I was actually very unwell and I had what would have been diagnosed as ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, had I not left the conventional medical system because it really wasn't going in a way that was helpful for me at all. The messages were all learn to live with it, there is no cure. And I was in such a bad way. I was probably a hair's breadth away from needing to be being cared for. And
Wow,
once I'd
I had no
started,
idea.
yeah, once
Mm.
I'd started to be cared for, I think that would have been the slippery slope then. It would have been bedridden, then it would have been wheelchair, you know. And I was really, really very, very close to that at that time. And I finally, and I used to try, I would try anything to get better. And in and after at a particular time, I came across a natural health practitioner, and I think it was about 3 years, 2 years after discovering her and starting work with her, that I started this business. And honestly, I
Oh,
wasn't well enough to start a business. I look back and I think despite my illness, I had such drive.
yeah.
I used to do a bit of work, and I had a yoga mat in the room where I was working, and I would do a bit of work and then go and lie down on the yoga mat for 15
Yeah.
minutes. And then get up and do like another hour of work and then go and lie down on the yoga mat again. And I didn't go upstairs to bed because I didn't have the energy to walk up the stairs to bed. And when I
Wow.
look back at me starting my business from that level of bad health, I just think, wow, girl, how did you do it? Because I doubt that I could do that today. So that was the
Where there's a will,
beginning.
there's a way, isn't it? When you've got a drive and you've got a mission, you're
Yeah.
just going to push through everything. But how did you manage? I mean, goodness me, how long could you have gone on for? Like, how long did you go on for? Like that? It's only, touch and go, isn't it? Resting, working, resting, working. How long did that go on for? What was that like?
Well, what I found was this really interesting dynamic happened where when I started this business, for the very first time in my life, I was getting paid to be me. I got to be completely authentically me. I could design my days the way needed to design them. So yes, if I had a job, I couldn't have gone and laid down for 15 minutes every hour. I'd have got fired. But I was building this business out of me and what felt good to me and an integrity to me and what felt authentic to me. And I think that that supported my health recovery. And then as the health increased, the business was able to grow a little bit more. And as the business grew and I grew in confidence and I was making money through being authentically me, there was this sort of a weird dynamic where somehow the business and the health lifted each other up. And
Yeah.
over a number of years, it probably took about 5 more years, and I was living a relatively normal life for a period of time. Yeah.
I love and Anna says, love paid to be me. I love that too. It's perfect. Authentic, because you can push through anything if it's truly you. It feels authentic. It
Yeah.
feels real, doesn't it?
Yeah, and of
And
course, I wasn't really
mm,
being paid to be me. Nobody was paying me to walk around being Catherine Watkin. I was teaching really valuable things. I was teaching small
yeah,
business owners how to get clients in ways that they don't, that, they'd always found sales so uncomfortable they weren't even trying. Now I was teaching them a way to sell that was actually comfortable and in alignment with the way they wanted to treat their clients. So I was getting paid for teaching something really valuable and very practical that helped people get results in their businesses. But the way I did it all was me. I wasn't having to posture or pretend or wear a particular suit or behave in a certain way to be accepted like I did in my corporate workplace. It was just
yeah.
being me, teaching the way I teach.
Exactly. Can you share? You shared in the group about your early beginnings, about you were going off and on which business to do, and you learnt sales, and you were really good at your sales. Can you just share that little bit that journey, Catherine, about when you were a salesperson and but you didn't realize that was what you were supposed to be doing, and you discovered back again or something. Can you share that
Yeah,
journey?
so when I left, so I basically out of university, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I did nothing. I just went traveling for a few years. And what that resulted in the end was that at the age of 23, I fell into a sales role. It was in the travel industry. I fell into a sales role. And then from 23 up to about sort of mid late 30s, I worked in sales in the travel industry and in the recruitment industry. And particularly the recruitment industry is very target driven. It's very cutthroat. They really are like high pressure environments, almost boiler room environments. And I worked in the recruitment industry for probably about 7 years in total. And I remember when I left, there was two things that I knew for sure when I left that job. One was I would never be involved with sales again. And
Oh dear.
and the other was that I would never wear a suit again. Now that was about I lose track of the timing, but that was a long, long time ago now, like pre 25 years ago. And to this date, I have not worn a suit. But of course, I ended up
Fantastic.
in sales because what I realized was once I was seeking what it was I was meant to do with my life, and I'd had a very successful career making money, basically. Sales is all about making money for the companies I worked for, and I was paid always on commission. So I'd made a career out of making money, and I now wanted a career based on making a difference, something that felt much more fulfilling and meaningful to me. So, of course, I was never going to do sales or wear a suit again. So, I retrained in this enormous range of modalities because I was seeking the thing I was here to do. And I was genuinely interested in all of these things. So, I retrained as a nutritional therapist, a yoga teacher, a hypnotherapist, an NLP practitioner, and a life coach. And I also trained, oh, and energy healing. And I also trained, yeah, and I trained but
Look,
didn't qualify in acupuncture. And
goodness me.
yeah, so a really wide range of healing and helping modalities. And what I found through doing all of that was each time I started a business around one of those things, the business started to get a bit of success because I was good at sales. And I was obviously a good yoga teacher because my yoga classes used to sell out, so there was no room for anybody else in the room. But I used to
Oh,
come away from every client session and every yoga class with this like heavy-hearted feeling of, this isn't it either. This isn't it. There's something I'm looking for, and there's some level of fulfillment. And after all this training, and this is even on paper successful, this isn't it. And what
because those trainings you've done, I mean, they're all several years in each one. Yoga, acupuncture, they're all several years of training. Each one of them, they're full on.
Yeah, although in my case they weren't. So the nutritional therapy was a master's degree. It was 18 months and then clinical practice. But I didn't do my clinical practice. I left with my postgrad qualification. I think the hypnotherapy was something like a 6-month course. So none of them were, and the acupuncture I didn't continue and didn't qualify. So none of them were more than the longest commitment to training was the nutritional therapy that was 18 months. But still, it was a lot of commitment, this
Yeah,
seeking. And then what happened was because I was connected to all of these people, I knew I had lots of friends now who were coaches because I'd met them at coaching school. I knew
yeah,
lots of friends who were NLP practitioners because I'd met them training. I had lots of friends from the nutritional therapy. Um, I was at uni for that, and none of them were getting clients. And it
yeah.
was like this penny dropped, which was like, oh my gosh, I might,
Rubbish at sales.
yeah,
We need help.
yeah, I might not have much of a clue about business, but put someone in front of me who's showing even the vaguest interest in what I do, and I'll have them into a sales conversation, and there's a pretty good chance I'll sign them up as a client because I've been doing it for 20 years. It just came naturally to me. And I started to see like these, and the more I started teaching. So I did my first small workshop called Sales Success for Coaches, purely for coaches at a coaching school. And then what started to dawn on me was, oh my gosh, these people have got all these beliefs about sales. No wonder they don't want to do it. They think it's about closing and manipulating and lying and being disingenuous. And everything that they believed about sales was like the direct opposite of what it takes to be a healer or a therapist or a coach.
Yeah,
And so no wonder they were blocked. And so for me,
yeah.
it was like, ah,
Ding ding.
this is the thing. And that's
That's
why
it.
and that's why I've done all this training, because unlike a lot of business mentors and coaches, I've trained in all of those things. Yes, I didn't practice in any of them for very long, but when a client comes to me and talks to me about her practice and sitting in front of a client, I understand what that is because chances are I trained in it. I'm not. detached from the actual work that they're doing and the challenges of
Yeah.
that work.
And that's one of the valuable things I feel from you, Catherine, is that, I mean, I was one of those. I hadn't got a clue about sales or marketing or business. I'd spent zero time, maximum time avoiding that stuff.
Yeah.
But, hoping on a wish and a prayer of love and giving, but it's not enough, loving and giving. It's not enough in business. And that's one of the things I felt from you is that you got us, you got me,
Yeah.
you got what I was trying to put out there. And that's one of the yearnings I had was I want someone to understand it and help me get into business. How do I sell my thing and get clients? Because I can't feed my kids if I don't have money coming in. And I don't want to be all yucky in business and businesswoman. It was repelling. So you just had the perfect mix for me. And you're so sweet and you're a tough businesswoman, clearly. You know what you're doing.
Could
And
get
you've
that
got,
bit in as well.
yes, definitely. I just want to make that really clear that you've got this personality, very sensitive, and you see right through. And you get therapists and people who are struggling, but you're a tough nut business. You know exactly what needs to be in place, but you do it in such a sweet way. I mean, one of the first things you told me to do was do a webinar, Althea, do a webinar. And I was do a webinar, do a webinar. I was like, yeah, yeah, okay. Why aren't you doing a webinar, Alfie? Well, Catherine, I'm terrified actually. I've never done it before. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, actually. But you have a whole now you have a whole program of taking you through all the like Facebook things and PayPal things and marketing things and webinar things and all the infrastructure to run a business. But more than that, you're there. You run all these group calls of support and focusing in on different aspects of business. And the support is a valuable aspect. That's why I'm still there because um, if I forget what to do, because I'm not a business person. I mean, I'm a business person, business person, but it's been a coat I've had to learn to wear and what to do, and now because now it's authentic. It's finally I'm flowering, and I do earn. I live off my earnings now from what I do, and like you said, being authentically myself. So it's been so valuable to have your gentle support, but do the webinar, Althea. The support and the knowledge of business is concrete, but the support as well has been terrific. And I love that you've done all these things because I feel you get me. So yeah, so then did things switch from that talk? What happened from that talk?
So that was a workshop I did for
Workshop.
coaches, and there was 13 coaches in that room, and I'd gone in on the train that morning with my terrible slides. They weren't even designed; they were just a plain PowerPoint screen with writing on them. And I just felt really embarrassed going there because I thought, this is just common sense. Like everybody knows this stuff.
You're not us.
Yeah, but really, it's really strong feeling of almost feeling mortified by what I was about to teach because I was so convinced that this is common sense, common knowledge. Of course, it wasn't. It was common sense to me because I'd had 20 years in sales, and the absolute revelation that the people had in the room and the excitement at the end of the day that actually I could see myself actually coming to like sales. I never would have imagined it before. I walked out that day and I went to meet, I'd done it as a partnership so I had trained at a coaching school called Animus School of Coaching. And the founder was the person who had helped me set up this day and he'd promoted it to the coaches. And he met me nearby for like a debrief and I like practically ran into this bar and I was like, I found it. I said, I found it. My business, I know what it is. It's called Selling from the Heart. And that's it from that day onwards. And that was
Ah,
14,
amazing.
14 years ago next month.
Amazing. Because when you sort of hit on the right button, isn't it? It's just, the feeling, the draw, it's like something you don't know what it is. But when you hit on it, it just goes click, 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 isn't it? It just happens. And I'm
Yeah.
so grateful you did, because as I was saying, I needed that. So I didn't want to do this hardcore thing. I was trying to learn all these different people that are online and Tony Robbins and all these other big names. And I thought I got to do it like this and I got to do it like that. It's not really, it's you. It comes from you, isn't it? Your authentic self.
And not only that, but some of those techniques that are taught, they get, I call it traditional sales approaches. And then some people call it bro marketing, quite masculine styles of marketing. And the thing about all that stuff that's taught by these very big name gurus who teach sales and marketing is that actually it does work. They wouldn't teach it if it didn't work. But it doesn't work for every business and it doesn't work for every type of people. And when we're in business to make a difference to others, and we really care about the well-being of those people, and we really care about doing the right thing by them, heavy-handed techniques designed to manipulate people into saying yes and not serving those clients. They can also be a real turn off to those clients and make them want to hide away from us and close down and not be open and share what's really going on for them. And of course, when a client says yes to you or me, Althea, and probably most people listening, if they're in the sort of healing and natural medicine field, that client isn't picking up a widget and walking out never to be seen again, and who cares whether the widget even works once they've gone around the corner. That client is entering into a relationship, and that relationship might last for weeks or months or years. So
Mm.
that relationship has to be built on trust from the very beginning. Otherwise, the therapist, you're not going to do your best work with that client. So there's so much wrong with traditional sales methods when it comes to difference making businesses.
Yeah, it just repelled me, and I couldn't get my teeth into it, and I didn't want to be fake, and but Catherine, you're a brilliant saleswoman. I mean, you're saying about when you were back in the sales time, you had to, was it because I was a rep at one time and trying my bit because you had to do the sales talk, isn't it? Sell the excursions.
Yeah.
I what I was doing. I was just you know, my mum used to be a tour guide, so I used to copy her way when I was in the coach and talking to people about money exchange and where's the hotel and whatever. But yeah, I didn't sell very many excursions, but you were brilliant at it. You were extremely good. Didn't you get the first? What was that the first million or something? The first you were telling us about. You were top sales all the time. What can you give us some statistics? Just show off a bit. Come on.
Yeah. So you're mixing the jobs up a bit, but yeah, you're right
Okay.
with all of those
Right.
stories. So yeah, it seemed that whatever I did, whatever sales role I ended up in, I was among like the top handful, top three usually, if not the top salesperson in that company. And you're talking about like that job as a tour rep. I was 23 years old. My best friend Karen had got a job as a holiday rep and she was on the island of Kos. And I heard
Oh,
about this and I was like, oh, that sounds great. I'd love to go and be a holiday rep in the Greek islands as well. So I applied for the job. And I also got placed to Kos in the Greek islands. And what I didn't know at the time of applying was that the main purpose of those tour reps is not really to look after the holiday makers. It's to
no.
upsell on the holidays because the holiday companies are making most of their profit on the sales of the day trips, and that's the purpose why you have a rep in town. Most
Yeah.
people don't know this. So, and I was just very good at doing exactly what I was trained to do. I am autistic. I have a very sort of structured, linear type of a brain. If I go on a training course and the training says, get on the coach, say this, say that, at this point, say that, I will do it. I'm able to like follow those instructions. And I followed to the letter what we were taught to do in terms of standing at the front of the coach, pointing out the island of Nisarus on the horizon. Even if it was dark and nobody could see it, I'd still point it out.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, they'd all turn up like barely having slept because their flight got in at 4 a.m. And I think it was a combination of me being able to understand and apply sales principles, like I'm able to learn them, understand them, and apply them. And probably a little bit of what you said earlier, which is that I'm sweet. And so,
Yeah. You're
these,
kind.
yeah,
Yeah,
and so the
you feel
tourists,
people.
yeah, and I'm enthusiastic. Like I couldn't sell something I didn't believe in, but if I am selling something I believe in, I'm very enthusiastic about it. So I'd be very enthusiastic about the day trip up the mount up to the town that's got no roads and you go everywhere on donkeys, and that is also partly what makes me good at sales now. It's partly the sales process, but it's also the conviction and the enthusiasm. So I think I am able to sort of carry people along with that excitement and enthusiasm. And yes, so that was my sales job in the Greek islands. And then the job where this was in my recruitment days then. So it was quite a number of years later that I'd come back to the UK. I'd ended up working as a as a standard travel agent, still also on commission. And then eventually I was doing so well as a travel agent. I was like at the top of the company. There must have been over 100 consultants, and I was at the top of the company. And
Wow.
people used to say to me, Catherine, if you're this good at travel sales, why don't you go and sell somewhere you could actually make some really good money? And I'd be like, oh, I don't know, I quite like this. I don't want to wear a suit. This was before I ever wore a suit. Don't want to wear a suit. Yeah, and enough people said to me, why don't you go and work in either recruitment or advertising? And eventually, I think it just got my interest enough. I went and applied to a recruitment company. And that was the company where I became their first salesperson in the history of the company to bill £1 million from my own desk.
It was the million. I thought
Yeah.
it was.
In
Yeah.
a very
Amazing.
cutthroat type of an environment as well.
Amazing. And to bring your sweetness, I mean, you know your stuff, but you just feel people. And I feel that when people come into your world, and I felt the same, that it's like you don't just get away with nonsense, all this rubbish we talk, all this things we tell ourselves about ourselves or the business or whatever. You're very good at saying, well, it's almost like you're sort of saying, well, what are you really trying to say here? And what do you actually want to give? Who is the actual people that's going to be your right people? And you're just very good at just nudging in there saying, are you sure about that thing? And keeping an authenticity. And yeah, the million, say it again, the first person to say it in your words, because I'm not very good at details.
So I had my own desk. So in recruitment industry, you're still paid by your employer, but you're paid a basic, fairly low salary. This was certainly the way back in my day. But you're given a desk, and you're basically told that's your desk and this is your sector. And I was told your sector is the public sector. We don't have anyone else doing the public sector. We've got no contacts whatsoever. You're going to have to build them up from scratch, but you can have the public sector. You're not allowed to call the banks because we've got another team that does that. You're not allowed to call the insurance companies, public sector, that's your lane. Here's your computer. Effectively, here's your Yellow Pages, but Yellow Pages was already online back then. It was still Yellow, it was yell.com that we would use to research back then. And I built my own desk up. So and that was all the billings that came from my personal desk in I can't remember the time frame, but I was the first person to reach 1 million and got very celebrated.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
I bet you were. I bet you're celebrating yourself. Incredible,
Mm.
incredible. And so, Catherine, tell us. So, when did you started your business, selling from the heart, 14 years ago? So, just I know what it is, but can you tell for the viewers what is it? What do you give and help people? What is it?
So selling from the heart is all about helping what I call heart-centered business owners, people who've gone into business to make a difference. And while they want to make good money from their business, the driving force is making a difference. I want to make a difference and I would like to make good money. Not I want to make money at all costs and I don't care how this affects people. And I teach, so they're typically coaches, therapists, healers, and I teach them how to sell and enroll clients without using manipulative, sleazy, pushy sales techniques. And I also have a membership, which is what you're part of, called the Business from the Heart membership. And this was about once I'd grown my own business and I'd mastered all those things that I once had no clue about. And it was so unclear to me for so many years. And nobody taught it. Nobody taught you how to understand business. I spent fortunes with business mentors, like tens and tens of thousands, and they would say to me, this is what you should do next. That's what a lot of business mentors do. This is what you should do next. And it took me years before I actually built up a picture of, ah, this is how a business actually works. Like there's a system, there's a process, it's like a jigsaw puzzle, it all fits together. It actually makes sense. But I'd been in business for about 5 years before I saw that structure. And so for me, one of the things that's really important to me is not so much being the one who says this is what you should do next, even if I did tell you to do a webinar, because that was probably also true. But it's about teaching people this is how business works. This is a typical pathway. These are the things that will work at this stage, but they won't work at that stage. These are the things you need to have in place as foundations or nothing else will work. All the rest, all this other stuff is it's optional, but if you try and do all of it, it won't work. Like being able to see, like from when I started my business, the jigsaw puzzle was in the box, all mucked up. You couldn't even tell there was a picture on it. Now I see business as the finished jigsaw puzzle, and I try and teach people to see that jigsaw puzzle. And if I can teach people to see the finished jigsaw puzzle, what happens then is they can make their own decision about what to do. They don't need to be told this is what you should do next. They can trust themselves and go, this is what I'd like to do next. And I can see that it makes sense because this is where it fits in that jigsaw.
All the principles have to be in place. The structure has to be in place, isn't it? And I
Yeah.
know with my own journey, I'm just going to open up so you can unmute if you want to ask. You just put your digital hand or your actual hand up, and just so we know, and then ask a question. Do if you want to. And just let me check the things you're saying. Um, yeah. So I know in my own journey, I came into your world thinking I just want to sell because I was a single mom. I got two little children. I was desperate to earn some money, and I had a skill, I had the goods, but I didn't know how to transform that into sales. So when I came into your world, I kind of leapt over myself, bounded in, and just where's the money making bit? What do I do? And of course, it's not quite like that. It's gradually I've just calmed down a bit and oh yeah, I need to do that bit. And I felt like begrudgingly getting into this thing and doing Facebook marketing and then setting my website up and all the rest of it. And I mean, I had a website when I came to you, but I didn't know any of the marketing side of things. So I've gradually, reluctantly though, I'm supposed to do the webinar, do this, and I just forced myself into it. But the whole atmosphere in your group is just supported, big time. That's the biggest thing I can say. It's really supported. It's not in your face. All the stuff is there. And you do all these weekly calls, monthly calls, and everything. You bring in experts to talk about this bit and that bit. I feel like I'm a begrudgingly learning business person. But it's all worn off on me bit by bit, slowly worn off on me. So, and that was my journey. But all the structure is there, and you don't push it in anyone's face, and you make it easy. Like if I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's like no, you don't have to do that bit and do this bit and something. And
Beauty of a
also,
membership, because that membership used to be £6,000 for the year. Now, if you're
mm,
paying the equivalent of £500 for a month, you've got to be moving. You've got to be taking action because you need to see that return on
yeah,
investment. And so those clients, if they were in that program and I didn't hear from them for a few weeks, I'd be reaching out, I haven't seen you, what are you working on? And I think the beauty of a membership that's lower cost is it allows you to go at your own pace. You don't have to
amazing.
feel that you're there all the time. You can just come when you hit a roadblock or you have that client call and the client doesn't go ahead because you think they should have done. And you can bring that. There's a guest training that looks directly relevant, but the one next month isn't relevant. Great. Well, I'll just ignore that. And I think for me, I've really loved the membership model. It has a lot of challenges. And in particular, as my health has been challenging in the last few years, it's not the easiest business model for somebody with health issues. But as a business model in itself, I just love it for that reason. I love the low cost. I love that it allows people to go at their own pace no matter what's going on. I love it that if you can't engage in it for 2 or 3 months, you're not going to panic because so much money's going out. And it doesn't take a lot to recoup the investment either. I mean, it doesn't take much. If you can't, if my view would be if you can't come on a call and get a tweak from me that makes the difference to you getting your next client, then that membership's not worth paying for anyway. That money every month should be easily replaceable by the extra clients that you're bringing on as a result of what you're learning.
It's been fantastic, and you're just so clear, as we've been talking about. You've got the very clear business ability, but then you're very kind and sweet, and you see through. And it has every time I've had a call with you, and sometimes I manifested myself. Wasn't it the last hot seat you do, and focusing on one person? It was supposed to be somebody else, and then I happened to ping onto it, and there I was having a one-to-one, and it was, so manifested myself one-to-one with you, and you just seem to sort of just tweak it because I when I came up against my blocks of things, you just sort of tweak it and help me see how to move forward, and it did. It completely helped, and also just I can dip in, as you know, recently I've had problems with website things. And there are so many people in the group with all different skills. Of course, we all have skills. Maybe not we're learning business, but we all have our individual skills. And I know I can just dip in there and say, anyone can help me with this thing. And people are straight back on with me, and it's fantastic. So that's really valuable. And as you said, it's now low cost, and it's a um, what do you call it? It's an easy yes. But
Yeah.
having talking about the money.
You make me laugh, Althea. Every time you call me sweet, you remind me about something a client said about me years ago. She was actually in that program that I'm talking about when the mentoring program was a higher ticket program. And she said that she said, I'm like the purple quality street. I'm all sweet and like sweet and chocolatey on the outside, but a hard nut on the
Hard nut
inside.
inside. Yeah, just like
Because
that's exactly
I
it.
think people get fooled by that softer exterior because
No,
inside
yeah,
there's some no nonsense on the inside.
there's clear no nonsense and a lot of business acumen and solid. You keep us very clear on what's needed.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just like that, a soft exterior and a kindness and understanding us, which is perfect for a heart-centered business and people that don't want to hurt anybody. And just talking about the money, I mean, I came into your world. I think the first thing I paid was, I think it was 500. Would that be an 8 week, 500 quid thing originally?
Probably was a
Uh,
many, many years ago. Yes, yes.
yeah, a long time ago. And you said, you'll make your money back. You'll make your money back. I thought, I hope I will, because I can't really afford it. I'm not really spending money I've got. And I did. I think it was within the third or fourth week or something. I made it back and then some. I was like, oh,
You
quite
made it
good.
back. You made it back over 3 times, if I recall, nearly 4 times.
And it was just wonderful, and I'd never made money like that of my own skills of giving it to the right people, and a money exchange with that, and it was just terrific. And then I did your big mentoring thing. I think that was a 3 month thing.
Yeah,
It's like £1,000 and something, and I didn't have the money at the both times. I didn't. I was just on a wish and a prayer really, and I made money back on that. Made the most money I've ever made in my life. I think it was like, was it £12,000 or something? And I hadn't even finished the course, and I was absolutely grateful. I mean, I was a hands-on therapist who's earning at the very most with a long day, £200 a day, which was exhausting, away from my babies, very tired, had to recover for the next couple of days. So this was a complete and utter game changer, living my life as my business with my intentions. So thank you so much that we connected, and you're wonderful. To hardcore business with a soft exterior.
thank
And
you.
it's been brilliant. I've seen, and it's what's really great seeing new people come in is I think, oh gosh, I'm quite far away along actually. I used to be, I used to be talking like that. I thought, oh gosh, that was a long time ago. I'm really different now. So
Yeah.
I feel like a businesswoman, dare I say it now
You
nowadays.
are a businesswoman.
I am a businesswoman, and it's enriching and empowering. It's fantastic. So thank you so much for your skill and your guidance. Do you anybody want to ask any questions? Do pipe up, and if you want to ask Catherine any questions, here's the moment. We're just going to keep chatting on, but do please pipe up if you want to ask anything. So how I wanted to ask you about how is your ill health these days? I know this is something that you're writing an ebook at the moment, which I'll be looking forward to sharing.
I'm not writing it yet, Althea.
Oh,
It's at the idea in my head stage, and I'm waiting
okay.
for some moment when I can actually pull it all together. But I've developed a large body of expertise around a particular health condition just since January. And I mentioned before that I'm autistic. And what this means is that when I get interested in something, I get a very deep special interest and I become an expert in it. So when I hit the menopause and I started taking HRT, because of my health journey, I was never going to go and just blob on to my body whatever thing some doctor told me to take. I
Mm.
became like a deep expert and researched it to the nth degree. And for a period of time, that was my expertise. And I'm just coming through the 5 most difficult years of my life, health wise. It's been incredibly difficult to live through. And it wasn't diagnosed until January just gone. And sorry, November, last November, nearly a year ago, and I've been on treatment since January.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm very much on this journey of recovery. And I'm on purpose not going to say what it is today because what I find that does is it generates people asking me a lot of questions that I'm not really set up to be able to answer. But it's an incredibly common condition that is incredibly poorly understood by the conventional medical world, but it's also incredibly badly understood by the alternative world. And so, where I'd left the conventional medical world many years ago because of the way that they were approaching my ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, and found an alternative health practitioner to support me who had a more holistic approach, with this particular thing, she completely missed it and repeatedly misdiagnosed me. And I spent an absolute fortune on all sorts of random treatments and healings. And I feel very passionate now because actually this is something that is an epidemic of misdiagnosis. And I've developed this really deep expertise in it. And I'd like
Mm.
to come back and maybe talk about it when I want to write an ebook so that when I do talk about it publicly, I've got a way of giving people some guidance to say, here's the knowledge that I have. This may or may not be the thing that's underlying your health condition, but do you know? Go and check this out. Because for me, this has been 18 years of my life. 18 years of my life. And in the end, the treatment is so simple and
Oh, my.
and so obvious when you know to look for it.
Mm. This would be absolutely marvelous because I think one of the most powerful things is your own personal journey, and that's core rock kind of information, and I'm sure it'll help many people. And I'll be wonderful for you to come back on and talk about that in time. So, and Anna's on the call. She says, I'm proud to be in the Get More clients saying, yes, I feel good about my decision. Proud to be here also. Me too. I love to know more when the time is good. Yep, me too. I'd love to have you back on and talk about this in time. So, Catherine, coming back to your clients, like me and Anna and other people, what's been the biggest challenges you found people struggle with the most? What kind of things do they come to you with? And
I mean, ultimately, it boils down to not getting clients. These are people who've started their businesses because they feel really passionate about wanting to make a difference to other people. And I think a lot of people don't think very far ahead. I remember I was the same. I remember training as a nutritional therapist, and I had this image in my mind of the client sitting in front of me, me helping the client. I never stopped to think, what's the process that has to happen in order for that client to end up in front of me? I think a lot of people don't think about the business side. They retrain as a coach or a therapist or a healer, or perhaps they take their skill set from their corporate role and they set up on their own in business. And it's almost like I don't think people really think about it. They just don't think about it. They just somehow think, well, the clients are just going to materialize.
yeah,
And clients don't just materialize. This is the thing. We have to
they
make it
don't.
happen. And, for some people, some people have a block around sales because of the beliefs that they've built up around sales, like I said earlier on. But also, I find that a lot of people have a block about marketing as well, because marketing's come to develop some really not so popular connotations. So just as part of the block for a lot of small business owners when it comes to sales is everything that they believe sales is. I believe that if I'm going to be able to sell, I have to be able to do this, that, and the other, and basically manipulate people into saying yes. Now, over the 14 years that I've been in business, something very similar has developed with regards to marketing, and it's social media. And a lot of small business owners believe that marketing happens on social media. They just believe that there's no black and white. In fact, I can say the word marketing, and for most small business owners these days, what they picture in their head is social media and social media activity. And so now what we have is all these small business owners who are absolutely miserable, posting several times a day, not getting any traction whatsoever, actually trying to grow their business the hardest way possible because it's really hard to get clients from social media if you haven't already got a big following. And so there's also this piece around the marketing, how to approach your marketing, how to make it easier, how to put the foundations in place in the first place so that the marketing is actually easier and more effective and people take notice of you. But then how do you get in front of those people in a way that's actually effective and in a way that you might actually enjoy doing?
Yeah.
Because if you hate what you have to do to get clients, it doesn't matter how much you love working with those clients. Your business has like a, a time limit. You're only going to get so far. 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, where's the line? Well, you're just going to burn out on this thing because you hate more than half of the things you have to do.
Mm. So it's finding the route and the path that you love, and all that strategy is in your guidance, is in your program. Do you call it a program or guidance or your membership? Your membership.
The membership. So yeah, I mean, the Get More Clients Saying Yes course is a course. And
Mm.
that is where I recommend people start normally because it's
Yeah.
where you started. It's where
Yeah.
Anna, who's here now, is where she has started. The Get More Clients Saying Yes course is what gives you like the step-by-step foundations. Week by week, implement this, go out into the world and do this, layering it on. And it's designed that by the end of that 8 weeks, it's designed that by the end of that 8 weeks, if you follow what I teach, you should be enrolling paying clients within the course.
Yeah.
Now, you
Absolutely.
did your proof that that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
And then the membership is like the support beyond the course, if you like, because at the end of the 8 weeks, what used to happen was at the end of the 8 weeks, there was no more support. Or there
Yeah. I
was,
remember.
or
I
there
do you
was.
remember I
Yeah,
said to you, do you remember I was saying, now what do I think I was after the 3 month thing. I was saying, "Oh, now what? Where are you?"
yeah. Well, now what? And the choice was either you're on your own or you can come and join me for £6,000 and I'll help you for 1 year. And this is a large part of why I teach what I do, because that business model was given to me by a business mentor. A business
Yeah.
mentor who said, this is what you need to do if your business is going to work. And me being a good girl who will implement what I'm taught, I implemented what I was taught and it worked. And I grew this six-figure business very quickly. And yet, what was happening was people were doing my course and they were dropping off, and there was nowhere to go unless they came and paid the £6,000. And so, when I stopped running that and I restructured it and I turned it into the membership, now from the course, they can come into the membership and it's a low monthly fee and they can pay that for as long as they want to stay. And I know you left and came back, but
Mm.
there are people in the membership who've been there for 8 years. They've been there since the day I opened. And
Yeah, I remember.
yeah, and it's at that level where that's doable to continue to have that support. So the course is the course, and then the membership is the membership, really. Yeah.
'Cause I remember when you were doing the sort of virgin flight of your membership, and you took in, is it called beta testers or something? I remember you were there sat with them, and I was with a friend of mine who's very savvy in business. I'm not. I am. But at the time, she was very savvy. She ran her own business, and she came to that talk of yours all about your business. And she was going, and I saw you talking to the inaugural group. And I was thinking, shan't I? My friend was saying, "Oh, yeah, she's just telling you all things I know. You can just do this and just do that." I thought, yes, silly me, silly me. But she's a businesswoman, she's savvy, but I wasn't. But I did join at a later date, and I'm so glad I did, because don't let people put you off if you're thinking about coming Catherine's way, and follow your own guidance, your own instincts. And it's only low cost a month. I mean, you can't lose on this stuff, and there's so much support, and you'll see. And then you can keep rolling it on. You even do I do the annual ones now. You can pay an annual fee. I know I'm going to be in, so I just get on with it. Just do the automation thing, and you send the email saying you don't have to do anything, but just letting you know. I was like, yeah, yeah, come on, let's carry on. And Yeah, so listen to your instincts. Anybody who's listening to this and thinking about coming into Catherine's world and getting business help, it's fantastic. And you get your money back. You just will. Even if you're like me, falling over yourself and just diving in head first of didn't know what I was doing, but it still works. It just still works.
You do have to
Um,
show up, though. This is one of the,
yes.
so while I love that business model, and this is one of the reasons that I do run the membership, because I don't want anyone to believe there's only one way of doing business. Because that model of a course, and then the next step was £6,000, that actually doesn't feel great to me. I've had the £6,000 level back since then. I've had a few years where I was running an inner circle mastermind at that sort of price point for the year, and I wrapped it up because I was having health challenges and I couldn't keep all the balls in the air. But I I don't like that you would go from the course and then there is nothing in between for people that
Mm,
might want that ongoing support. And there's so many different ways of structuring a business and so many different ways of making a business model work. And I really want to encourage people to trust themselves and develop the business model that works for them, because there's no one business model that works better than the others. They're just different. They have different challenges. The membership, I love the membership, but I need to do a lot more marketing than if I had a one-to-one business model. If I was making the same amount of money through a one-to-one business model, I wouldn't need to, I would only need to reach a fraction of the people that I reach now with my marketing. So they've all got like pros and cons. There's no one that you could say. And the people who point at one business model and go, this is the one that
that's
works.
what.
That's because they only know that one. It's what they did, and they make money out of teaching it. There is no one way that is the right way.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm just saying, I'm dyslexic. Today I did RMN for cervical. Really want to know more about your situation, your condition. I think you discovered something, something good for health. I'm on. She says I'm on module 3, and like you said, to do one or two. But do you want to come on to speak, Anna? Say your thing. It's going to be better than me reading it out. I'm rubbish. That's all right.
Sorry, my English is not very good, so that's why. So I said that I'm at module 3, and I like the way that Miss Catherine explained that it's better to do from marketing one or two, to choose one or two, but to do it good. And I decided to have a banner because I want to interact with people and to stay in a very busy street with that banner and with a book in my hand and see if somebody will want to discuss with me, at least discuss with me, to see the interest, that awareness that she talks about. So after I reflected a little bit, I understand that I would like to choose this kind of marketing, let's say, and not posting, because I'm not feeling very comfortable with posting. So that's it. And regarding the health issue, I always mumble when I speak in Romanian, and I diagnose myself. I've been a little bit dyslexic, and I have fatigue and I have headaches from time to time. And they say that it's a cervical thing. And today I checked my cervical to see if it is a cervical thing. So sorry. So yes, I will be interested to, when times comes and it is the proper time, to find more about this, because I think it will be better for a lot of people to to find out about this kind of treatment, non-traditional. That's it. Thank you.
Thank, thank you. And I would love to come and talk more. I know Althea today, part of the plan was that we were going to talk about my health journey, and we haven't had much chance to touch on that. So perhaps it might be nice to come back and do another one at some point.
That would be
The point
amazing.
is
And
not when the time is good for everybody. So we don't want to push it. Thank you.
that's it. It'd be amazing to have you on. Thank you so much, Anna, for sharing that. And Catherine, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to have you back on to talk about it when you're ready. And Anna was talking about the membership. How does the membership work? Is membership for 1 year? Do you want to?
The membership is a monthly membership, so you just pay monthly and then the next month, and then the next month. Althea mentioned annually because there is an option to pay annually, and you get a discount if you pay annually.
Amazing. So, Catherine, absolutely terrific. And thank you so much for sharing everything. And I'm sure it's going to inspire people and think, maybe I can put my thing into a business. Yes, you can. Catherine, where do people get in contact with you? How do people reach you?
So my main online home is actually my website, which is catherinewatkin.com. You can also get to it by typing in sellingfromtheheart.com, which is much easier spelling than knowing how to spell Catherine Watkin. So sellingfromtheheart.com. And I have a number of free resources on the website. So there's a structure for a heart-centered sales conversation that is probably the core thing that most people sign up for. I've also got one on how to get clients when your marketing is making you miserable, especially if you're finding social media is something you don't enjoy. And actually, since Alfie has mentioned the membership, I know that I don't know timing wise, should I talk about the membership coming up, even though
Yep, go ahead. Yeah.
so the membership itself, I normally open it up for new members once a year. I'm sorry, twice a year. But
Mm.
because of my own health challenges, we haven't opened it for a whole year. And coming up very soon, it's going to be opening up on the 10th of November for about a week. So from the 10th, I think it's from the 12th to the 20th of November, the membership will be opening up for new members to join. So if you're listening to this and you're interested to find out more, sign up for something on my website and you will be kept in the loop to hear about I'm doing something called Create a Business You Love Week. I'm also doing a masterclass on how to create a business you can stay in love with. And all of those things will give you much more of a flavor of the membership and what's included.
And that's all free, those two things, is it? That
All
Create a
the
Business Week.
Yeah, Create a Business You Love Week is free, and then I'll be doing a masterclass for free as a way for me to sort of lay out my wares, if you like. These are the key teachings and principles that underpin it. This is what's included. This is how much it costs, etc.
Amazing. And I've come across I've been on board with those things you've done before, and even the free things, it's really valuable. It just opens your eyes, makes you think about your own business and your own where do you want to take it and everything. So
Well,
even just
I'm hoping a lot of our current members will come and redo Create a Business You Love Week because it's such that the principles are so core. But people forget, you said yourself, because you're a healer primarily, you're not always thinking in those business terms. And I feel there's a lot of core principles that people just forget. They learn them and they go, oh my gosh, yes. But then they forget them again. And it's like, come in
yeah,
and do Create a Business You Love Week and just re-ground yourself in what are the pieces you need to have in place to make this business work and make it feel good.
absolutely. And I do thoroughly recommend it. I've been Catherine Singh over a decade. I can't believe it's been over a decade, but thoroughly recommend coming to a while to learn about these things. So, Catherine, thank you so much for coming on. It's been absolutely terrific to have a proper business girl, even though you're soft on the outside, a tough business girl, and sharing your knowledge and wisdom and teaching people how to create their business because it's life changing. I live off my salary of what I love now, and you started my business world of that. So I'm very grateful. I sort of know what I'm doing nowadays, but I'm living off it and it's working. So come along to Catherine's World. And wherever you're watching this, click the like and subscribe, ping the notification bell so you can get the next podcast sent straight to you. And you can sign up for the next podcast on my website at painfreedom.co.uk and also find out about all what I can offer too. So, Catherine, I love to leave, and there's thanks coming to you in the chat about this call. And I always like to leave my guests with the last words. How would you like to leave viewers, Catherine? What thought or focus or action? How would you like to leave our viewers today?
What I would like to tell people is that regardless of how you might be feeling about sales, I promise you that you can fall in love with sales, like really come to love it as a core part of your business. I love sales. I did a strategy day recently where I was doing some business planning as part of a program that I'm in. And as part of it, we were asked to identify the things we'd enjoyed the most in our business in the last month. And every single one of the things I'd enjoyed most was directly related to sales. It was either having a sales conversation with a potential one-to-one client, or it was running a masterclass and then having conversations to enroll people in my course. And so many small business owners have got blocks and negative beliefs about sales that hold them back. They hold them back from taking confident action. They hold them back from inviting people to find out more. It holds them back from inviting people to sign up to work with them. And just imagine how your business would change if you just loved sales and looked forward to it and were excited about it. It would change everything. And I just want to let you know that you can fall in love with sales. You just have to learn to do it a different way.
Amazing. Catherine, thank you so, so much. And thank you for for viewers to join us today and those who are watching on the replay. Thank you so much. And do get in contact with Catherine if you need some help. Just dive into her world. Some of it's free and you're going to get so much value out of it and change your world, as she says. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks,
coming.
Althea. Bye-bye.
Thank you for coming. Bye for now.